Here we will begin with the developmental stages of the sporangium in case of equisetum. This is the picture of a developed sporangium which is elongated sac-like structure with two layered wall, and it contains the spores. Here the spores are homosporous in nature, that is they are same in size and shape. To begin with the different stages in the development of sporangium, the mode of development is a eusporangiate type. In the sense, here the sporangium is going to develop from the group or row of the cells. These cells we are going to consider as a superficial cells, which are present in the rim of the young sporangiophore. That is, these superficial initial cells, these are present in the rim. This is the rim from where what is going to arise is cone. So this rim, from here superficial initial cells will get activated. Once these group of cells are activated, they will undergo first division, which will be a periclinal division, leading to formation of an outer cell and inner cell. Now, these outer cell will divide in more periclinal and anticlinal division. This outer cell will form n number of periclinal and anticlinal division, leading to formation of a tier of a set, irregular tiers of cells. In the sense, there will be like some 6 to 7 layers of cells are formed from this outer layer because of the periclinal and anticlinal division. Now the fate of these 6 to 7 layers is not they are going to form entirely the outer jacket, because we have seen that the developed sporangium has only 2 layers, 2 outermost layers. Then what is the result of this 6 to 7 layers is inner layers are going to form a sporogenous tissue. They are going to differentiate and form sporogenous tissue. Apart from sporogenous tissue, they are going to form tapetum. So the development or evolution of the tapetum, origin of tapetum in case of equisetum is from the outer cell, not from the inner cell. So outer cell is going to undergo a set of periclinal and anticlinal division, leading to formation of some 6 to 7 layers of cell. These 6 to 7 layers are not going to form the entire jacket of the sporangium. Only 2 layers are involved in the formation of the jacket. The rest are going to form the inner layers. Okay, inner layers are going to differentiate into sporogenous tissue and a tapetum. Now the feature destination of the inner layer of the cells is they are going to divide in all the planes. They are going to divide in all the planes and form sporogenous tissue. So in case of equisetum, the origin of sporogenous tissue is by both outer as well as inner cell. These sporogenous tissue by further division transform themselves into spore mother cell. Not all the sporogenous tissue are going to form spore mother cell. Some will transfer themselves into a multinucleate structure called as a nurse cell, which are a multinucleated structure. Their role is to provide nourishment to the spore mother cell, and tapetum is also involved in the nourishment. So tapetum as well as these multinucleate structure which is originated from the sporogenous tissue are helpful in nourishing the spore mother cell. Now the spore mother cell undergo reduction division or meiosis, leading to formation of spores which are haploid in nature. So the spores here are homospores. They are equal in size and shape. So in this way how the development of sporangium takes place. Now next will be the maturation of the sporangium, structure of a mature sporangium. This is how the structure of a mature sporangium looks like. It has got 2 walls, the outer as well as the inner. The inner wall is much compressed. Easily we can make out inner wall is much compressed, while the outer wall has these thickenings. Now these thickenings are responsible for the dehiscence of this mature sporangium. When the sporangium is mature and it is the time to release the spores, these walls they will split open. They will split open and the release of the spores takes place, and these spores are going to be dispersed by air, by wind. Now next will be dehiscence of the sporangium. While the dehiscence in the sense dehiscence of sporangium, we all know that we have a sporangiopore, which is somewhat like a T-shaped structure. This elongated disc, we are going to call it as pelted disc. This is a pelted disc, and at the lower region we have this elongated sac-like structure called as sporangium, which we saw just now is a double layered structure, outer layer and the inner layer, and we have homospores in between. After maturation, once they attain the maturity, this pelleted disc, it will elongate in its structure. This elongation results in these sporangium to get separated from this structure. Once they are get separated from this structure, a longitudinal splits arises in them because of the outer wall thickening. Longitudinal splits arise in those thickenings, and those thickenings will start to split open. Once they are going to split open, the spores are going to be dispersed with the help of wind. Now speaking about the spore, here the spores are surrounded by 4 layers. Not only exine and intine, some 2 extra layers are epispore, outermost layer, and cuticular layer. This is the second one. Third will be exine, and the innermost will be intine. It is like intine, exine, cuticular layer, and epispore. When the spores are mature, this epispore is going to split open. It is going to, for example, this is the spore. This epispore is going to split open, and it forms a structure somewhat like this. Now this epispore is a mature spore. This spores has got 4 different layers: epispore, cuticular layer, exine and intine. Exine is the most toughest layer. This epispore at maturity is going to split open. When it is going to be split open, it is going to form a ribbon, 4 ribbon-like structures. These 4 ribbon-like structures are adhered to the spore here, and these ribbon have their tips in the form of a blunt spoon-like structure will be present at their tip. Now these structures are called as elaters. They are hygroscopic in nature. Hygroscopic in the nature, in the sense they are going to absorb the water and help the spore to be in a moist condition during their development. It will be somewhat like this. They will be coiled around these spores. They will be coiled around these spores. Elaters, they are formed from the epispore. When the epispore is going to split open, it is going to form a 4 ribbon-like structure with their tip somewhat blunt and spoon in nature. These are hygroscopic in nature, and they will be coiled around the spore just to keep the spore in a wet condition. When these are mature, these elaters, they are going to release. Now they are released. When they are separated, this spore is ready to disperse. So in the sense, it is going to help even in a dispersal of spore. When these are mature, it stops absorbing the water. When it stops, hygroscopic in nature, right? During the coiling, when it is coiled around the spore, it will be like sending water to the spore. Once they are ready to disperse, it stops absorbing the water. It separates from the spore. Separation of the spores is nothing but it is going to disperse the spore. So elaters here are haploid in nature. They are ribbon like, 4-armed ribbon with a spoon, with a tip ending in a spoon like structure, and they are formed from the spore wall. That spore wall is nothing but a epispore. So this is the difference between the elaters of the equisetum, that is the pteridophytes, those with the bryophytes. In bryophytes, we saw that elaters were something like spindle shaped with a spiral thickening in between. This elater is specially present in Markantia. This kind of a spiral thickening we won't see here. And this was diploid in nature. Why? Because some of these spore mother cells which didn't went under a meiotic or reductional division, those cells we called it as sterile cells. These sterile cells were nothing but elater mother cell. These elater mother cell are diploid in nature. Whereas in case of elaters of equisetum, these are originated from the structure of the spore. The spores are the resulted by the reductional division, that is haploid in nature. So the elaters are haploid in nature of pteridophytes, where the elaters of bryophytes are diploid in nature, and they have the spiral thickenings, and they are also having the pointed ends. This is the structural difference between the elaters of pteridophytes and bryophytes. The spores will disperse with the help of the wind, and they are ready to mature into a gametophyte. So this was a different steps in the developmental stages of a sporangium. This is the structure of a mature sporangium. This is the LS of a cone. This is how, here this picture, how the spore, this is the spore and these are the elaters. These are 1 2 3 4 ribbon like structure, and their tip ends into a spoon like. Their tip are having the spoon like thickenings. This structure is of a spore which is surrounded by the elaters surround the spore, so the spore is not visible here. Once they are open, they are going to disperse the spores. Thank you.